Hey friends, it's time for chapter 4 from Gooseberry Park. Remember yesterday we learned how Gwendolyn and Kona both came to live with Professor Albert and how they became friends. Today we're going to read this chapter called Murray, and Murray is the little bat, and you're going to meet Murray in this chapter, and he's very hyper and he talks fast. So we're going to meet him in this chapter. It was her first night in her lovely, clean, new nest. Stumpy slept peacefully, feeling the babies move inside of her belly. What a perfectly peaceful... Ouch! Stumpy jumped. Was she dreaming, or had someone just yelled, ouch? She lay very still and listened. Someone was definitely in her tree. There was rattling and stumbling above her. Twigs were falling all around. Her first night in the new tree, and here had come a noisy neighbor. Excuse me, yelled Stumpy irritably. Silence. What? Someone called back. I said, excuse me, called Stumpy. Oh, no problem. Silence. Wait a minute, called the voice. Was that sarcasm? Stumpy frowned. I'm just trying to get a little sleep here because my babies. Babies? There came a flum, flum, flum. Suddenly, perched on the edge of Stumpy's nest, was a tiny black and silver bat. He was grinning broadly. I love babies, he said. He shook Stumpy's paw and peered into her nest. So there's Stumpy inside of her new nest, and she was all warm and cozy, and then all of a sudden she hears all this noise, and it's this little bat whose name is Murray. So where are they? Stumpy by now was speechless. Here was a bat in her home in the middle of the night chatting. She couldn't find her voice, so she simply pointed to her stomach. You ate your babies? Asked the bat. Who are you? Stumpy finally managed to ask. The bat grinned and shook Stumpy's paw again. Murray, he said. Name's Murray. And you? Stumpy. Pleased to meet you, said the bat. Did you just move in? Stumpy nodded. Hey, Murray said with great cheer. We'll be neighbors. I've tried every tree in East Gooseberry, and this is the only one that doesn't have a woodpecker living in it. Talk about ruining a neighborhood. Just you try to sleep while a woodpecker's having breakfast. Speaking of food, said the bat, have you eaten? Want to go out for Chinese? There's this big green dumpster over on 6th that's always full of egg rolls and tasty little packages of duck sauce. Well, tasty if you're not a duck. So, want to go? Stumpy looked carefully at the bat. You're nocturnal, aren't you? She asked. No way, said Murray. I'm a Democrat. No, said Stumpy. Nocturnal means that you sleep all day and stay up all night. I knew that, said Murray. So, asked Stumpy. Murray seemed confused. Then he remembered the question. Oh, he said with relief. Oh, yes, I'm as nocturnal as they come. Do you want to go over Chinese or not? Stumpy was very big, very heavy with babies, and also very tired, and she was not nocturnal. She thought it was best to stay home. So instead, she invited Murray in for a bite of fresh pita bread that she'd found that morning. In spite of the rude awakening, Stumpy was happy for Murray's company. She sensed that her babies were due to arrive very soon, and it was good having him to talk to. She didn't feel lonely or afraid. Murray told her all about his cousin Rudy's sinus problems and his great Aunt Miriam's bad knee and the heart palpitations that ran in his family. He also told her about the fall that he had had as a young bat when he was hanging from a tree by one foot and trying to unwrap a Mars bar with the other. He had gotten so excited that he slipped and hit the ground head first. Since then, he'd had some problems with his echolocation, and he couldn't seem to fly in the dark without bumping into things. So when Murray was a little bat, he was hanging from a tree trying to open this Mars chocolate bar, and he was so excited and he kind of lost track of what he was doing and he fell and he hit his head. "You'd think I'd manage not to bump into my own tree," said Murray sheepishly, "but I do, all the time." There he is, bumping into his own tree. "How long have you lived in Gooseberry Park?" asked Stumpy. "Oh, all my life," said Murray. "I was born on the north side into a big family, 4 girls and a boy. My sisters are crazy about music, so they moved into town over a store called the Vinyl Nightmare, and my parents retired to Disneyland. They're living in one of those houses, and it's a small world. So now it's just me. I tried to fix the old place up after my folks left, but it was too big a job. Lots of shag carpeting. My mother loved shag carpet. In our living room." "You had a living room?" asked Stumpy. "Oh, sure," said Murray. "It was a split level, and how about you?" "Well, I collect things," said Stumpy. "Yeah?" "Yes, Stumpy grabbed her stomach. "Pardon?" Murray said. "Oh," Stumpy cried out again. Murray's eyes grew large. "Indigestion?" he asked. "Or babies?" "I think I need to be alone now," Stumpy said, still holding her stomach. Murray jumped up. "Absolutely," he said. "I've got a million things to do anyway. Empty the garbage, water my plants, floss. I'm out of here." He perched on the edge of the nest and then looked back at Stumpy, worried. "If you need me, just yell. I'm only 1 flight up." Stumpy smiled. "Good night, Murray. I'll be fine. I'll call you in the morning." The tiny bat grinned. "Babies," he said. Then he was gone. Alone, Stumpy swept away the remaining pita crumbs, then curled herself into a warm corner of the nest, where she had made a special bed of sweet-smelling pine needles. She closed her eyes and took several deep breaths. "So how many ducks do you think it takes to make one of those little packages of sauce?" called a voice from above. Stumpy smiled. So now Stumpy has met Murray, a bat who just happens to live in the same tree where she has built her nest, and her babies are on their way. So I'll be back later for the next chapter. All right.